So topic is epigenetics. So we heard that why how our body regenerates in less than a year. 98% of our body is new. So like we have a new liver every 6 weeks. Then why somebody is still carrying a disease, or our brain is a new brain every 1 year? So why somebody has a brain injury or maybe a liver cirrhosis still is not healing? So we'll find this answer in epigenetics and what is the science behind it. What is the patterns we carry in our genes, and we understand the science in epigenetics. It's a new research. It's a new science which has come up in last 20-25 years and has become very prominent now. So what is epigenetics? We all have heard about genetics. We carry the genes of our parents, our grandparents, and epi means above. There's something which is more than these genes. There's something which is above the genes, and that's why it's called epigenetics. So the new science which has proven that only 1% of our behavior, our attitude, our beliefs, our patterns is 1% is only 1% is hereditary. 90%, which for which we have no control. The remaining 90 to 99% is totally our choice. It's our own free will. It depends on our lifestyle. It depends on our emotional patterns. It depends on our own belief systems, and which is not hereditary. So the fact that we have free will, that means we are not the victim of our genes. We have a choice. We have the choice. So our genes are like a Christmas tree. So through our choice, through our free will, through our behaviors, emotions, attitudes, belief systems, we decide which genes to switch on and switch off. So all these genes which we inherited from our parents are like so even though we have inherited it, but it's like it depends on us to give life to those genes or not, or to let them express or not. It's like a blueprint, but that blueprint still remains a blueprint if we do not give them the expression. And how we give expression is through our thoughts, through our words, through our actions, through our emotions, through our through the environment in which we live in, through our belief systems, through our attitudes, through our perceptions. So it's totally our choice. So this is how the body is formed. Everything starts from atom, and then atom turns into molecule, group of molecules turns into a chemical turns into cell to tissue to organ. Then from organ we form the systems of the body, like cardiovascular system, or endocrine system, or our digestive system. So like this, we have so many systems of the body, and all the systems of the body put together forms our body, which we see as a body. So primarily it is atom. It all starts from atom. If you break it down, eventually it is all atom. And the science has proven that, the quantum science has proven that all atoms is 99.9999% only energy and information. Only 0.0001% is matter. So whatever we are seeing as our body, or as your laptop, or a computer, or your mobile phone, any objects, whatever you're seeing is actually, if you break it down, it is all atom, and atom is only 0.0001% matter. Rest, it is all energy and information. So same way with our body is also energy and information. But so that means we think that we have a solid body, but actually it's energy and information. And it is constantly changing. It's constantly regenerating. So it's like a candle flame. So as Rushabh said, 25 million cells in our body die every second. And imagine 25 million cells are born every second. So that's how fast our body is changing. But because the change is so constant, we don't even realize that we are changing. So it's like a candle flame. You know how a candle flame is burning, but every flame is a new flame. Every millisecond, the flame is a new flame. But because the candle is burning and the flame is so constant, we feel it's the same flame which is burning for 1 hour or 2 hours. So same way with our body. So because every moment our body is changing, every second our body is a new body. But because the change is so constant, we don't even realize that we are changing. But the truth is we are changing. So, but However, if we are changing so constantly or every time we have a new body, then why are we not curing any disease? Why are we not curing any illness? The fact that we have a new cells. So what happens is when we are born with these cells, when we are born with the new cells are born from the parent cells. And the new cells are called the daughter cells. Now, when they are born, they carry that all these cells have an emotional charge, they have an emotional memory. And when the new cells are born, even though the old cells die and the new cells are born, but they pass on the same cellular memory, the same memory, the memory charge, or the same emotional blueprint to the new cells. The same energy charge, the same frequency of energy and information to the new cells. So even though the new cells are new cells, but actually they carry the same frequency of energy and information from the old cells. And that's why we carry the disease. If somebody has a liver cirrhosis, so even though every 6 weeks we have a new liver, but because the energy and information passed on to the new cells are still the same of the old cells of the parent's liver, so that's why we are still carrying the disease. And that's why we are not healing. So if you really want to change, if you really want to heal ourselves, all we need is to do is to change the energy and information around these cells. And if we change the energy information around the cells, and then the new cells which are being born will no more carry the old patterns. It will be born with a fresh energy, fresh information. They will not be carrying the old energy information, of the illness. Rather than it will be a fresh energy information of the wellness. Our wellness is a natural state of being. So when we're in a natural state of being, we'll inherit the state of wellness, and then you'll heal yourself. Then you'll heal your body. So we are not a victim of our genes. It is our choice to completely heal ourselves. And the beauty is, since the cells of our body is regenerating, so it is a healing can be a natural process. It's not that we have to change the body part, or the body is anyways regenerating. So we don't have an old attitude. We don't have an old our cells of our body is regenerating every second. So we already have a new body. Our problem is we have an old attitude towards a new body. So what we need to change is our attitude, our behavior, our emotional pattern. Because whatever emotions we have is actually stored in this body, are stored in some of the body parts. So this is how our body is formed. So our body is a protein producing machine. And one gene, what we inherit, one gene can have 35,000 variation. And imagine, and then we have 24,000 genes in our body. So, and each gene and all these 24,000 genes produces together 1,40,000 different types of protein. So if we are a victim of our genes, then 24,000 genes would have only produced 24,000 proteins. But the fact that it produces 1,40,000 proteins, that means it has a choice, it has an expression. And as I told you, one gene has 35,000 variation. So 35,000 variation into 24,000 genes. So totally these genes can have a choice or a variation of up to 84 crore variations. So imagine how different ways these genes can express. And what gives the expression of those genes is us. So it's totally on us how we give the expression of the expression of these genes. So this is how our body is formed. The same cells of the body make the neuron cells. The same cells of the body, through different expression, make a muscle cells. The same DNA make the cardiac cell, or the red blood cell, or the intestinal cell. So if it is the same cells, then how are we able to make different parts of the body? How it is giving expression to different parts? So how can different cells do so many different things, even when they all have the same DNA? This was discovered by Dr. Bruce Lipton. And when he was doing this research around 40 years back, when he was doing a research in his laboratory, what he did was he drew different blood samples. He brought the same blood samples and he divided those same blood samples into different cultures. So few blood cells he kept into a different culture, same cells he kept into a different blood culture, and few cells he kept into the same blood culture. So the the same group of cells, when they put into different blood cultures, they behave differently. And in the same blood culture, they behaved in the same way. So that means that gives him an insight. Oh, if it is not the genes which is expressing on its own. It is the environment, it is the blood culture around it, which is giving a different expression of the genes. So that comes to he came to a realization that it is not, the cell does not express by itself. So, and what is that environment? Then he did further research. What impacts this environment? I'll come to it later. So then that is how the whole epigenetics, the whole science of epigenetics was born. So before this, the modern health or the modern medicine was always telling that, oh, if your father has a diabetes, then you'll also get diabetes. If cancer in your family history, you'll also get the cancer. So a disease is not hereditary. We only are born with the blueprint. So we have the probability of getting the disease if we carry the same emotional pattern of our parents, of our ancestors, or of our grandparents. If you're carrying the same emotional imprint, then and if you're carrying the same behavior, the same belief systems, then we'll give expression or give life to those genes. But if we break those patterns, if we are no more carrying the same emotional pattern through our spiritual understanding, through our wisdom, or through our meditation, or through our knowledge or understanding, through our awareness, if we are no more carrying the same emotional pattern of our parents or of our grandparents, then we do not give expression to our genes, to our family genes. So it's our choice. We have the choice to break that chain of pain. Right? So it is what we give expression to these genes. So what are the things which give expression to our genes? As I told you, only 1% is genetics or hereditary. Rest is only the blueprint. So what signals these genes? So our environment signals the genes. So, and every time your environment changes, you signal new genes in new ways. So what is this environment? So this environment, first thing, it compromises of our emotional health. In emotional health, I also include, say, a spiritual health or mental health. So mental, emotional, spiritual, all this is together. Then the other things in the environment is the toxic or the pollution, the city you live in or the house you live in, which area you live in, the pollution you have, the noise pollution, the air pollution, the sound pollution. So whatever, so these are that is again impacts, give expression to our genes. Then our relationships with people, our relationship with our friends, our relatives, our family, the kind of maybe our enemies or our competitors. So whatever the relationships within a business, with our boss, with our subordinates, all this relationship again gives an expression to our genes. Then our relationship with money, your financial health. If you're in a good financial health, then probably you might be in a better mental health. If you're in a poor financial state, it leads to maybe stress or distress. So again, you are stressed about it. So that gives again expression to our genes. It influences how the genes will express your financial condition or your perception about your financial condition. Then another thing is your diet. What kind of food you eat? Is it in Hindu we have this concept of tamasic food, sattvic food, or rajasic food. In Ayurveda we have a different kind of food as per the different koshas of our body. So what kind of food we eat? Is it a plant-based diet? Is it raw food? Is it animal-based diet? So depending on our food, our genes expresses itself. Then another thing which signals the genes is the exercise. A lot of times, if we are exercising well, we move the energy in our body, we activate the prana or the chi energy, and we are more healthier. So many times we live a very sedentary lifestyle. We hardly move from the AC, from home to office. We don't exercise much, and the energy becomes stagnant. So again, that gives expression to our genes in different ways. So all this together, our mental, physical, and emotional health, our mental, emotional, and spiritual health, then the pollution, the toxins, the people we meet around us, our financial health, the relationship with the people around us, our diet, exercise, then so all this together depends, gives the expression to our genes. And and every time our environment changes, so together, all this together form the environment. And 90% of the expression of the genes is through our emotional health. The research has shown that 90% of the genes expression is through our emotional health, because all these things, we perceive it as an emotion. If we translate any experience, the end product of any experience is an emotion. So any of these experiences around us, we translate it into emotion, and then through the emotion, you give expression to your genes. So it's like an example. So if you want to change the expression of your genes, we have to change our emotional state, or this environment of our relationship with people, or the pollution, and not just physical pollution, but nowadays we have pollution of air pollution in form of radio waves, or 3G, 4G, 5G. So all this, all these forms and impacts the expression of our genes. So if you really want to make a change, we don't really need to change the cells. A lot of times we have disease and the doctor says, okay, we have to change the body part. But the truth is, a body part is generating every moment. Every body is, in less than 2 years, every body part is a new body part, 98% in less than a year. So what we need to change is actually the way these genes express itself through what is the environment of this cell. Every cell is a separate living entity, and every cell has its own expression of energy and information. Every cell has its own frequency, its own energy and information. And if we change that energy and information around the cell, then the new cell which is born will carry the new energy, the new information. And then we do not inherit the disease. Then the disease is not passed on to the new cells. So like, it's like a TV. It's like an example is of a TV. If you want to change a program in a TV, you don't change the TV. You only change the broadcast. You tune into a different channel, to a different frequency, and you have, all of a sudden you have a different channel, or a new broadcast on your screen, or a new program on the screen. So similarly, what we need to change is the program. The issue is not in the tissue. The issue is around the tissue. So if we change the program around the tissue, then we change the tissue itself. So and every genes, as I told you, our body is a protein producing machine. And if we have a good thoughts and a good emotions, you will produce good genes. The genetic expression of our genes will turn into a good quality genes. And if you have poor thoughts, poor emotions, then these genes produce poor quality proteins. So it depends on us whether, and it produces the incoherence. And then after a point of time, it turns into a disease. So every disease is actually, from the quantum perspective, is only incoherence of the cells, incoherence of the tissue in our body, or the cells in our body. So if we really need to change, all we need is to change the program, around it, to change the broadcast around it, through our thoughts, through our emotions, and through the environment around us, through our diet, through exercise, through the intake of toxins. So like when you're taking excessive alcohol, so you are signaling genes. You are killing your cells of your genes. The cells get a different information, and now the new genes which are born will be of poor health quality. And that's why sometimes when we have excessive alcohol, next day you feel very lethargic or very lazy, and probably takes. But because the body it has a capacity to heal itself, but again in 36 hours or 48 hours, again you are rejuvenated. When you take one good sleep, and you are again rejuvenated. So the body has its own innate capacity of healing itself. All we need is to connect to that healing capacity and to understand the science behind it. And that is what epigenetics explain us. and and that's why once we change our emotions, once we change uh, the way we think and feel, because with every thought there's a chemical reaction, and I mean with every thought there's a chemical reaction which makes our body feel, and the moment the body feels, it sends a signal to the receptor sites of each and every cell of our body, and the cell expresses itself. It gives expression to our cells. So and that's why it's called memory without the emotional charge. It's called wisdom. So we have to, the moment we lose that emotional charge, the old emotional charge, that's what is called wisdom. And every time we change, we lose that emotional charge. Every time you memorize an emotion, you liberate so much of energy. And so much of energy is now available to create a new feature. In fact, the new research, the new science has proven that in 2015, the new science has proven that 90% of the energy, 90% of our human mind energy is actually consumed in just dealing with these old emotions, in old patterns, in old belief systems. And they limit us. That's why we are not able to reach to our fullest potential. So, so friends, so we have to focus on, so to really make a change, to really make a change in our physical health, we need to make a change on our emotional health and or the other environment around us. So we are actually, for all these cells, for all these 50 to 70 trillion cells in our body, we are like a god to them. Like how for a planet Earth, for the 7 billion people, we all believe in God. As a species, we all believe in God. Or as a religion, we believe in certain gods. Different religions believe in different gods. Similarly, for all these cells, all these 50 to 70 trillion cells in our body, we are the God. We are the Brahma, Vishnu, or Mahesh for them. We are the creator, sustainer, or the destroyer for them. So if we have positive thoughts, we give them more life. If we have negative thoughts, we actually destroy them. So it's totally on us. So we are the creator, we are the sustainer. If we are doing excessive alcohol or drugs or smoking, we are killing them. We are destroying them. Or if we are having healthy diet, healthy nutrition, good emotions, good thoughts, healthy relationships in a pure, clean environment, then we are giving them life. Or if you're every time you're meditating or you're doing a breath work, you are giving so much life to them. They are rejoicing, they are dancing because you are giving them life. They feel connected to you. They connect because for them you are the source energy. You are their ultimate resource. So so you are the God to your souls. And as I told you, you don't have an old body. The cells of your body is always regenerating, constantly regenerating. You only have an old attitude towards the new body. So it's our choice. It's our choice to actually, it's completely our choice to age, or so whether to, it's our choice whether we are aging or we are saging. The more conscious we become, the more aware, the more wiser, and more in tune we are with the inner being. With more age, we are actually saging. We are not aging, we are saging. We are becoming more wiser, more conscious, more aware, more healthier, more in tune with our inner being, and and that's why meditation plays an important role. So, friends, our health is totally in our hands. We have a choice to heal ourselves completely. We don't need to depend on any external doctors or any external line of treatment unless it is an emergency. But otherwise, our body is the biggest pharmacy of chemical. Our autonomic nervous system is the biggest pharmacy of chemical. It is whatever the chemicals are needed to heal our body, we can generate itself. Our body can produce itself. We don't need external chemicals. We don't need to intake external chemicals to heal ourselves. Okay, so next is, so friend, this is a chart. It's an emotional pain chart. I've taken it from Louise Hay, his book, You Can Heal Your Life. So there are various mental thought patterns that form our experiences, you know. So suppose if you're carrying, suppose you're carrying too much of burden on your, so you might get a frozen shoulder, you know. So, but you can release that burden. And if you release that emotional burden which you've been carrying, then you can heal your frozen shoulder. Or say wrist represents movement and ease, or say our hips. If there's some problem of the hips, That means we have a fear of going forward, or our inability to bend. We are very rigid in our behavior, in our attitude, and we are stuck in our present reality. And that's why then we have an issue in our hips, or it is knees, then it is your stubbornness, maybe it is our ego, our pride, or again an inability to bend, very, very inflexible with life. So, and we don't want to give into any other thoughts. We are very rigid, very jiddi. So then we have a problem with our knees. So even for knees, sometimes it is also insecurity. We don't know what our future lies ahead of us. We are very insecure about our future. So sometimes because of that, we get problem in our knees. So like the different parts of the body represent different emotions, and all these emotions are stored in that different parts of the body. And that's why eventually it starts with the emotions which we feel, but emotion which we carry for a elongated period of time. First it starts with moods, then it turns into temperament, then it turns into a state of being, a personality. And once it becomes it becomes a personality, then it becomes a state of being. It becomes hardwired in our brain. It becomes stored in our body. And once it has permanently found a place in our body, then over a period of time it turns into a dis-ease. That's why it's called dis-ease. Every disease is nothing but a lack of ease. Dis-ease. So the moment we put our body, our emotions into ease, we have easy emotions, which will again translate it into a body. It will put the cells into that part of the body into ease, and we'll heal ourselves. So it's totally our choice. So it is this genes which gives it is our emotions which gives the genetic expression to our genes. And that's how, so that's why any disease is mainly, most of the disease, this is 90% of the disease is psychosomatic. And that's why that's why it's called most of the diseases, because of these unresolved emotions or unresolved traumas. So because with every emotion there's a chemical associated with, like say if you are in a stress, if you have an emotion of stress, then you release this chemical called cortisols. Now when you release this chemical cortisol, when you release cortisols, when you're in a flight and fight mode, that time, if you release cortisol, if you release adrenaline, you get a rush in your body, the whole energy flows towards hand and legs. So suppose you're walking on the beach and the tsunami is attacking you and you want to run now. So that time it is good to release that cortisol or to get that stress, and then you're alert and you're active. And then you're running. And then because of the adrenaline rush, it leads you to adrenaline rush to our glands, to your hands and legs. It is transported to your hands and legs, and that's why you don't feel tiredness, and you are fine. But now, if you are in that state, if you're in that constant, and imagine when you're in that state, all you don't think of any creativity, right? Somebody asks you, what do you want to eat for dinner? You don't care anything about that. Or what do you want to do with your future? All you want is to protect yourself, to save your life. Now, what happens is, over a period of time, if you're living in the constant, that high beta state, if you're living in a constant state of flight and fight mode, and then these cortisols, which we are releasing, this adrenaline, if you're living in a constant state of adrenaline rush, then over a period of time, it leads us to tissue breakdown. It starts giving expression to our genes in a different way. Yeah, and then it eventually turns into a disease. So, and then it eventually has a physical impact on our body, and that's how. However, if you release, say, through endocrine, when you are meditating, you activate your pineal gland or your pituitary gland, you release these chemicals called serotonin or melatonin, or when you have a good sleep, then it leads to tissue repair. This chemicals leads to growth and repair. So there are multiple chemicals related to our emotions. With every thought, every emotion, there's a chemical associated with it. And few chemicals are healthier for the body, which gives a genetic expression to a gene, and the genes produces protein. So then it will produce the good chemicals, will lead you to a good genetic expression, and then you will produce healthy proteins. Poor emotions, poor thoughts leads to a poor genetic expression of your genes, and which produces poor proteins. And our body is nothing but a protein producing machine, and we are a combination. Our body is a assimilation of these proteins. There are two ways of healing. One is by force, and other is by changing the energy information around that. So here, so when you change the energy information, that is where mostly all the complementary medicines come in, like Ayurveda or homeopathy. What is homeopathy? Homeopathy is nothing. You take the same sugar pill for everything, but it carries a different, it carries the sugar, that same sugar pill carries a different energy information. And when you take it, it changes the energy information of your cells, and then you heal yourself. So you are just changing the energy information. You're not changing the cells. You're only changing the energy information around the cells, and you heal. So homeopathy is the best example of quantum energy medicine. It's an energy medicine. So while in allopathy, we take chemicals. We are trying to forcefully change the expression of our genes by taking these chemicals. But then over a period of time, these chemicals in the short run may give benefit, but in the long run, it has its own side effects. It makes our body dependent. It has its own other side effects, because in allopathy, you see body as a part. If I have a problem in my knee, then they will see knee as an independent part. But in complementary medicine, the truth is the body is not an independent part. There could be a different emotions related to that part, or the problem lies somewhere else. That could be only a symptom, but the root cause may lie somewhere else. So we have to look. Our body is a whole. It is all interconnected. It's a whole. It's a colony of different cells, and all these cells are interconnected. All these cells are expressing itself all the time. So we have to look our body holistically. And that's why in complementary medicine, we look our body holistically. So like it's a Newtonian, in allopathic medicine, we have a Newtonian way of thinking, like a body as a machine. So if one part of the machine gets spoiled, it is not working, then we only change that part, right? But in complementary, we look the machine as a whole. And even if the problem is in somewhere else, but the problem is showing somewhere else, symptom is showing somewhere else, but maybe that's the root cause is somewhere else. So in complementary medicine, we go to the root cause, and that's why meditation or breath work goes to the root cause therapy. That's why they are called root cause therapy, or say past life regression. It's called a root cause therapy, or transgenerational healing. All these are called root cause therapy, because we are dealing with the root cause. From where did that emotion started, which eventually transform into a disease. It could even lie in our past life, which may be carrying from that, or it may be carrying in our emotional expression of our parents. But we, being born in the same environment, we are carrying the same emotional expression. So we are carrying the same emotional behavior or same pattern, and that's why it is being expressed in our genes. So eventually, through our free will, through our choice, we can change. So as I told you, our body is a protein producing machine. So it is a protein gives structure and function to our genes, and and our emotional, our thoughts, our emotions are nothing but vibrations. As vibrations, they are also frequency of energy, energy, and information. And that's why Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the world, think in terms of frequency, energy, and information. So this vibration, our vibration affects this protein. It affects what kind of protein we are going to produce. So in medicine, in allopathic medicine, we don't study energy, because the drug companies want to sell chemicals. They don't want to sell energy, and then they cannot sell energy. So that's why since they want to sell chemicals, even the education system, they don't learn about the energy systems. They only learn about chemicals, because that is what they want to sell. But today, I think the awareness is increasing. We all understand allopathy is great for any allopathy is good for emergency, or for any critical illness. Allopathy is good, but for any chronic illness, we need to change our lifestyle. We need maybe complementary medicine. We need to really change our lifestyle. We need to focus on the whole environment which impacts the genes. Then allopathy is not good enough. Allopathy won't work in the long run. So as Rishabh said, every cell is vibrating as is 1.4 volts of energy into 50 trillion cells. So imagine 70 trillion cells, and now we can focus, we can direct the same cells, same energy, 70 trillion volts of energy to actually heal your body through meditation and through intention. So we have the choice to heal ourselves.